All right, what's going on, guys? This is Logan with West Desert Wheeler. Today we've got our new Rock Pirates Interceptor carbon fiber chassis build. This guy has a Vanquish stance truck that I chassis swapped. We're gonna take a look at it here in a minute. And then we're out here at Sand Hollow. We're gonna get this thing out on the rocks. Let's first take a look at the truck and then we'll hit the trail. So here's a look inside the truck that we are running today. So the biggest part about this truck is it's got the carbon fiber Rock Pirates Interceptor chassis. Now the carbon fiber chassis is a little different than their aluminum one because it utilizes a shorter skid here, so you got a smaller belly to hang up on, and then it also has upper link mounts built into the chassis where the original Interceptor does not. So you can see the upper links on our suspension are tied into the chassis here on all four sides. So I've got my two uppers on the front. This is a 4-link truck in the front, and then it's got the 4-link suspension in the rear, how most RC crawlers are set up. Got our Rock Pirates cross members here, got a Rock Pirates body post mounts, and then I'm actually using the cross member here for the screws from the shocks to go into and support the chassis as well as the shocks. And then you just through bolt and nut the front bumper into position on this truck. It is a stainless steel bumper on this guy. Servo on axle setup. So this is a 4-link truck. Got the Vanquish VS410, got the Vanquish F10 portals on here. This is just a stance that I chassis swapped. Now, I also swapped to a different skid that is no longer the stance skid plate, and in doing so, I have to use one of my WDW VFD flat skid adapters. It was a great build for that opportunity to use it on this truck. And then in addition to that, I put the stubby kit on this VFD so it shortens the transmission. It's available from Vanquish, and so I'm running a short revolver in here, which is the 540M revolver from Holmes Hobbies. We've got a secure 32-bit ESC, and then just the power lead coming out here. It's direct power to the servo, so it's all just pretty basic and simple setup. Really awesome truck, very lightweight. Got the aluminum sliders on there from Rock Pirates RC as well. This is an awesome little combo. Let's go get it on the rocks and show you guys how it does. All right, so let's talk about where this truck ends up in the Rock Pirates lineup. So essentially you have their original Interceptor, which is an aluminum chassis in many different colors, really cool setup, and it's super universal. Works on Elements, Traxxas, works on Axial, works on Vanquish, lots of different stuff you can build that chassis into with a ton of different slider options and body mounting options and all sorts of fun stuff. The carbon fiber one is a step above the original, and then this truck does not have an angled skid plate. So I would say that this is not as competitive as something like their Kraken chassis. So it kind of goes original Interceptor, carbon fiber Interceptor, then you would go to their Kraken chassis, which they have aluminum and carbon fiber of for that setup, and then to their Rum Runner. So the Rum Runner is going to be their most aggressive setup for their highest performance trucks. Kind of a cheater rig setup with the forward skid design. That's what I wanted right there. So this guy is kind of second out of their 4 chassis that they currently offer as of making this video. Now, I originally got this stance as an RTR, so it had an aluminum chassis. So just swapping to this carbon fiber chassis, it shed a lot of weight out of the truck itself, plus getting rid of a lot more cross members that were plastic and kind of bulky compared to just these little aluminum ones. All right, we gotta get doing something here. This guy ended up being a little bit lighter weight overall going to this chassis. So this is now, I would say, a little more of a higher performing truck because of the weight, for sure. I like a lightweight rig. Now the stance is excellent, and the stance does come with an angled skid plate. So doing this kind of build is a little interesting just because you're losing that angled skid plate, which essentially when you get bellied out on an obstacle, having an angled skid plate helps you break over the obstacle easier. Very nice. Rock Pirates' kind of main goal in building this truck was essentially to give a good Class 1 option to the market. And I definitely think that this will work well for that. I do like that they used a little bit shorter skid plate, something more similar to what their Kraken chassis utilized. But then to be Class 1 legal, in most comp series you cannot have a angled skid. but I'm not really an expert in the Sorka rule set, so I don't want to speak a whole lot more to that effect. These crawlers putting in work out here, just trying to claw for traction. Got the Spec RC 1.9 comp cut wheels, SL3D inserts, G8 crawlers are my favorite. Ah, that was it. There it is, very nice. That's a tough climb there, it's steep. Luckily with these F10 axles, we get a ton of steering angle. These are definitely some of my favorite portal axles available. Right from Vanquish, tons of aftermarket available. And the Stance RTR comes with weights on them. I have not changed them, so they're still the cast alloy weights. They're not brass. Lots of articulation with this setup, just with the stock 90mm shocks. Like I say, I just swapped it over and changed electronics, so there's nothing real groundbreaking as far as the build itself. And it certainly works well out here. I will say the sliders are a little bit too wide for the Stance body. That's okay. It just gives you that little bit of a 1/8 to 1/4 inch gap on each side. But I like having the full width sliders on this truck. On our way up to one of the most difficult obstacles on this trail. I've covered this one quite a few times. I'll be interested to see how the non-angled skid handles the breakover section, which we're working towards. There we go. Gotta get that left rear up, then we cut across. So I'm just gonna kind of drive straight up, see how much traction will deliver for us. And then we're gonna slowly work our way left. And then at some point it will drive up and over this. There we go. Kept us safely away from going too far down, because you kind of run out of a hook and you can fall off that face right there. But the old BFG is getting her done out here. I haven't run the BFGs in a minute. Been running a lot of Swampers and Aztecs. Okay, let's take the back up. This is the, okay, so I did some switching around here. I put a VRD carbon spec VFD in this truck. So this one has the lightened 21% overdrive gears in the transmission, plus the 17% portal gears. So this guy has like 40% overdrive, like a VRD carbon does. It's not the same overdrive as the Stance. Because if I was gonna put a stubby kit on a transmission, I wanted it kind of fully built, how the VRD is. So this is the breakover area I was talking about. Kind of got to work it a little bit further down. Gotta love that low end control with the secure ESC. That's the Escape 3270 amp with BEC. Okay, right here I should be able to kind of straighten up and see if this truck will push up and over. And it sure will, right there. Excellent, did not hold us up one bit. Once we got our front end where we needed, it was the first try. Now you got a sketchy side hill, downhill, above a huge waterfall that you don't want to fall off of. And this truck's nice and planted, because the Stance is a great performer, and so is the Interceptor we've got here. The geometry has lots of adjustment for the link positions on this, and I found exactly where I wanted it to be to get my pinion angles where I want, which is essentially I want flat pinion angles. That's how you should build your trucks, is with a flat pinion, unless you're trying to gain caster or something. Oh, need our forward weight bias to kick in. There it is. Now it's going to rotate over. Sydney's clawing for traction behind me. Just a super cool canyon here. Always fun. We're just gonna push into that front, let that overdrive carry it up. And we're gonna have to turn into the driver's side, help that left rear climb. And then go back passenger to straighten us back out again. And we're gonna do the zigzag through here, so we're gonna go passenger to driver. We're gonna try and keep the rear balanced across the crack. It's picking up the front right. It's gonna settle here in a second. Sydney's trying to pass us, but I'm not gonna let her. She might do it anyway. And there we go. Then we're gonna cut passenger, get the left rear to climb, cut back driver, and we're gonna go up the big vertical hill. And we'll see how vertical we can get with it. Got on the throttle and it hopped a little bit, not exactly what we were after. Man, that's close. I feel like just a little more forward weight, it would have had it. There we go. A little momentum rather than just blipping the throttle like we did. That worked out nice. This one can be a tricky one at times. You really got to get the line right. So we're doing this little crossover up here. And typically I like to make the climb up on the left side before starting the crossover. There we go. You got to get that right rear position just right. You got to get it to climb before you can start making the turnover. Ooh, it barely pulled through at the right time. Very, very nice. That's why I love the BFGs out here. They will get the traction when you need it. Being double and triple ledged on this climb a bunch of times like it is, it's tricky to crawl this. A lot of hopping. It's because this guy's lightweight. Nice, quick work on that one, truthfully. All right, we are working our way onto our second trail for this video. Our first one goes through Candyland, which is a full-size trail named Candyland. And it's just it's a solid name for that one, so we'll go with that. This one I named Sidewinder because I ran across multiple snakes across like 2 trips that I made running this trail. Now, locally, it's starting to warm up, and on like Facebook and whatnot, I've been seeing a lot of posts about people seeing snakes again. So we're gonna keep our eyes peeled. Hopefully we don't run into another Sidewinder, because I do have Sydney out here with me and I worry about her. So, we're gonna have to watch out for Sidewinders. Sidewinders are a lot smaller than a typical rattlesnake, but they're the aggressive ones. Rattlesnakes that I've run into don't really give a shit. They just want to be left alone for the most part. But the Sidewinders I've seen out here, the only time I've ever actually been approached by a snake, he was like 15 feet away and slithered towards me. And I was like, yo, not my kind of party, so. Luckily, I'm a lot faster than he was. But the problem is Sydney goes and smells something and goes looking in these little caves, basically just looking for trouble. Sometimes it's a lizard, sometimes it's not. Come on, truck, get that left rear up there. Need a little more forward weight bias to get this to do what I want. All right, not happening. That's definitely a buggy line anyway. But as far as my truck, it needs more forward bias to get that. I can see what it's doing. It's not responding how I need it to. Get it up there. Turn, truck. Man, getting denied all the way across this thing. Gets frustrating at times. All right, on to Sidewinder we go. But I did not only see Sidewinders on this trail, I also saw some coach whip snakes, which I had to look up after the fact. I took a video of one and talked to some people and found out that there was a coach whip, which I hear they're aggressive but not poisonous, so weird combo there. Not venomous. Poison is when you eat something, right? Beautiful pull there. That's a tricky one to get right. Now we got a huge breakover, but a flat skid. And fortunately our ride height is just enough to get it up and over. Very nice work. This one's an even crazier breakover. Hold on to it, truck. Got to get aggressive with that throttle to break it up and over. And it made it work. Beautiful. The blue out here looks killer on these red rocks. I really do like this blue. It's grown on me a lot. Still a fan of the dark metallic gray though. Although I did just get a body over to my buddy Bonehead RC, and we're gonna get a Vanquish stance body painted up, and it's probably going on this truck. Oh yeah, this truck found that perfect pinch. No, the left rear fell in. Say hello, Sydney. Dang it. If that wouldn't have fell in, we could have had this line. It's just a little too off camber at this point. Dang it. Man, I got that pinch perfect the first time. It was just cruising up. Let it work. There we go. I turned too early last time. Such a cool obstacle. And you pivot right around on the slider. Exactly how I wanted to run that. Beautiful. Carbon Interceptor, getting it done out here. Here we are, working our way up to this nasty drop, and we're gonna follow this narrow ledge and see if we can make the pinch out. This drop is extremely difficult, and typically I drop this with trucks with angled skids, which do not help, because dropping down something, the angled skid is helping it drop even more. And so I'm hoping this will actually slide on its belly under control a little bit more. Our left rear isn't quite against the wall like I usually like. So we're gonna watch the belly here. Just go as slow as we can. Nice and controlled. It's on the belly, it's stopped itself. Amazing control there. That was exactly how I wanted to drop that. And then because we got portals, the front end's gonna end up trying to diff out, but we got portals, so it'll give us that extra clearance we're after. Gotta be careful with the rear when it drops, because it flexes it all the way out towards the edge. Look at that, guys, how wild. Our tire's in the air in the back, but the overdrive's gonna pull us through. I don't think I've ever dropped that as controlled and frankly as perfect as I wanted it to. That thing did exactly what I wanted it to there. We're on our belly again. Just gonna kind of scrub along this. Get this front to climb through here. It's gonna flex again. Come on, Interceptor, let's get this one shot. This is a really tricky line. The low end control with these brushless outrunner motors, the torque, and I love that they're quiet. Lightweight, we got the sidewall. No way. I don't know that I've ever one-shot that as clean. And I did it with the carbon Interceptor. Get out of here, man, that was awesome. Perfect, absolutely perfect line there. Slow and controlled, we're not in a comp, we don't need to rush it. That was sick, that was exactly how I wanted to drive that. Very cool, I'm stoked on that. That was definitely awesome. We're gonna try this breakover line just for the fact that it's a breakover line and I'm curious how the flat skid will handle it. I haven't been driving flat skid trucks nearly as much in the past year or two. Just the craze of angled skids came through and just about everything I've been running had an angled skid. Axial Pro, Vanquish Stance, Rock Pirates Kraken, all of it. Overdrive's gonna pull us through on that one. We gotta get our slider to clear. It did. Is our forward bias gonna be enough here? Don't know. Just barely enough. Those metal sliders are gonna allow us to slip right through. There it is. Like I say, nasty breakover, flat skid, gets it done as long as you got the right weight bias. All right, we're gonna do this line. It's flat out just stupid, is really what this is. It's just dumb. But it's very difficult, and I tried it a bunch of times with rear steer trucks and all this, and then I brought Connor out here from Rock Pirates, and he had his SDX Pro, I believe, and he made it through first, and then I followed him through it that same day. So I don't know what magic dust he sprinkled on it to make it possible all of a sudden, but he was the first one through. So you end up out here on this ledge way above a giant cliff, and then you got to go over into this V-notch that's just about vertical, and you end up super steep to where your truck tries to backflip. See if we can get those fronts up. A lot of binding. Get that front left to eat it. There we are. Now we're in a terrible position for a save. Luckily, this tailgate of this truck is saving us. Yeah, I can see it's not wanting to pull it right there. Now he did have, I believe it was a Pro on portals with the big Reefs brass in the front. Oh, that was so close. Get up there. Get up there, truck. Yeah, one of the very few trucks to have made that. And she did it pretty quickly compared to the other times I've been out here and practice on it. I spent a lot of time and didn't make it, so let's get over there so we can chase this line out. Like I say, I mean, this line is just kind of stupid. You're just asking to destroy your truck. Fortunately, I have not lost one off of here yet, but it's not really if, it's when. Cool little pinch here. I like how that works. We're gonna drive our front down to try and correct the rears. But then we gotta bring our front back. No, not too soon. Rear's in a good pinch there. Rear's fully flexed, which is not ideal. Now it's gonna level out. And so from the bottom, you can chase this crack all the way back to the top. Super cool. And a couple challenging areas on the way back up. That's how this originally started, is I just wanted to drive this crack from the bottom to the top and realized that that bottom climb was extremely difficult. But thanks to old Connor, we found out it was possible. Maybe it was the rear steer trucks with the added weight in their back that were struggling more. And this simple lightweight drag axle build got it done. Because his Pro was drag axle as well, it wasn't rear steer. But that's going to take us to the top of Sidewinder. So I greatly appreciate you guys watching. I hope you enjoyed the content. My name is Logan with West Desert Wheeler. I'll have links down below to Rock Pirates RC, Spec RC, SL3D RC. Those are just standard links to friends who help support me here at the channel. And then I will have affiliate links to A-Main and Horizon Hobby, and those are affiliate links. So if you purchase anything through that link, you can click on that link. It'll take you to, I don't know, a Capra RTR or a Stance RTR is likely what it will be. If you go through their website, add anything in there you want, a battery, a charger, whatever, that will kick me a few bucks back, and I would greatly appreciate it. So thank you guys very much. We will catch you in the next one. Keep the rubber side down.